All right, welcome in. I am here with 2023 co New England Patriots Courage Award recipient David Andrews, one of the dynamic duo for New England to win this, along with Jonathan Jones, who we actually got to talk with as well. David, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate you having coming on.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm excited. Me and Jay Jones. Jonathan's a great guy. Been a great teammate to me. So super honored to be accepting it with him.
Yeah, and let's talk about that moment. Yeah, obviously the Patriots selecting two players this year. It's not unprecedented, but it is very rare when it does happen. When we have two players that are so deserving that we got to honor both of them, and we certainly understand because we want to make sure we're telling the good stories of everybody on and off the field of guys that are coming back from injury or any of their special stories, as well as being community stalwarts like you and Jonathan are. But looking at that moment, you guys are kind of announced as Courage Award recipients together. What was that like for you? How did it go? And, what was the team reaction as well?
Yeah, I think it was awesome. Jonathan's such a great dude. He's a local Georgia kid like myself, undrafted kid like I was. And we've been teammates. He came in my second year, so we've been teammates for 8 years now. Um, and kind of been there throughout each other's career. And he's got one flaw though. He went to Auburn. I'm a Georgia Bulldog, so I have to hold that against him. But it was a huge honor, and obviously, it says a lot about him, and it's a huge honor to be considered it, for this award with him, and because I think we're two guys that tried to come in and do it the right way. And he can probably speak to it. There was a lot of other great players that really, helped us and showed us how to do things the right way. Whether that's playing football and preparing for games, and which obviously is important. We've had a lot of success in our careers, but also doing the right thing in the community, being a husband, a father. Those are the things that will last longer than the success on the field.
Oh, and I'm glad you touched on it. And, we talk about the Black Courage Award, and you hear a lot about, the athletic trainers' involvement. So, a lot of players coming back from injury when winning the award, but it's also about community. And talk about your community efforts and why that is so important to you to kind of give back, knowing that you have the opportunity to now that you're in the NFL.
Yeah, I think it's always been something important to me and my family, but obviously when you get to the NFL and have this platform and the opportunities, and obviously I came into the Patriots organization, and there was two things that were very clear when I came in there. Number one was winning. It was important. We were going to win, and we were going to do everything we could to win. And then kind of like 1A, 1B was you're going to serve in the community, and you're going to become a part of this community, and how important it was for the organization to be out in the community. And it wasn't just lip service. It's, from the crafts down, is true. And the crafts of that, a lot of the community events. So really when you come in there and see that as a young player, and they're taking you as rookies. We went to the children's hospital, during OTAs, and spent time with, all the kids there. And you see the impact from a very early point in your career and what kind of impact you can have. And then obviously Donna does a great job for us of, hey, what are you interested in? And it's not, because obviously if you're more interested in something, she's going to help you find that and help you get connected with people and opportunities in that space that you really wouldn't know about as much. And so she and her staff do such a great job for us, helping us out with things, connecting us with people. And personally, me and my wife, we've done a lot of different things, whether, it's with kids and Boston Children's, to done a lot of work with military working dogs was a big passion of mine. And the Warrior Dog Project did a lot of work with them, and law enforcement stuff. To Team Impact, which is a great organization that started here, really starts helping kids connecting kids with sports teams and college teams, and it's not just like a 1 day thing where the kid comes and spends a day on campus. No, like these kids go to the team and they become a member of this team and all this stuff, and it's really cool to see the stories and the impact it has on the kids, obviously, but even more importantly on the student athletes. And so there's been so many opportunities I've had up here, and then it's also great being able to support your teammates and things that they're doing, and I think that's super important. And it doesn't take a lot, right? Like it's not, it might just be showing up for an event and being there and just your support, and obviously meeting people at their event and being there to support them has always been something super important to me and something I try to do as much as I can. And then obviously, it changes. You get a family and things like that, and now you're trying to balance community, football, family life, and so it's always evolving. But Boston's such a great community. So fortunate to be here and be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can, tell you firsthand that, obviously the dedication process can be long and arduous, and just working with the Patriots front office staff, working with Donna Spigarola, working with Stacey James on putting that all together. And once it was completed and we did our actual official dedication, I can honestly say it's been my favorite one I've ever been a part of. Not only did they bring a bunch of kids out to come out to a training camp practice and set them up on the field, but like you said, Robert Kraft gets very involved. He came over with a donation check matching the Ed Block Courage Award Foundation's donation check of $10,000. So that was the first time that's ever happened. So just an amazing experience. And then finished off, we all went inside for lunch. Did our special little presentation, and you could see all the kids' names scrolling across the stadium ticker. So it was just an amazing event. And, I grew a lot of respect for the Patriots organization over the years, and just how well they are organized, but also how much they do give back and our community, and the great partnership they have with the key program, our Courage House up there. Talking about yourself now, let's look at just you growing up. Obviously you've become very philanthropic in your playing career, but you've also been a great role model on the team as a team captain. Where did that come from? Who was your biggest inspiration growing up when you were, possibly thinking you might make it to big time college, or maybe even possibly the NFL?
Yeah, I think I started playing football when I was 6 years old, and I didn't know at that age when this journey would take me, and where I'd be 25 years later. So but I think it was a lot, and I don't think there was one person, and I think that's how it is, and I think you're influenced by a lot of different people, whether it's work ethic, how to treat people, may call it core values, and then there becomes the football values that are important, and they just kind of align with those core values and all these different things. And I think, one thing that's so cool about the NFL is you're obviously representing yourself, right? And but more importantly, you're representing all those people that did pour into you at some point, because none of us got here, alone. And whether it was our parents driving us to practices late at night, or picking us up from practices, driving us to, games on Saturday morning, and all these things, and then you could say, the high school coaches that maybe spent a little bit of more time with you after practice, maybe met you on a Saturday morning to help you. I had multiple coaches that would, if I called them and be like, hey, I got a recruiting camp to go to. Can we do some work in the spring and after school before they went to coach their other, because a lot of high school coaches, they coach maybe high school football, track, right, whatever it is, right? They're coaching something else in the spring, and before they went to that practice, they would meet with me and work O-line drills and things like that, or, strength and conditioning, and so, it's never just one person, and it's definitely not you. You obviously do all the work and the things, but you're really just a reflection of all the people that have poured into you. And then, you can go far along to say, once you get in the league, then, if you're married or girlfriend, whatever, she's obviously taking care of a lot of the things on the home front while you're in the season, and, allowing you to chase this crazy dream, and, your support system, making sure everything at home's okay, raising kids, whatever it may be. So, uh, you're a product of all that and a representation of all those people. Um, and I think that's something really cool, and something, you should honor, and, to me is something really important why I play the game, and how you should play the game.
That's yeah, amazing, and it's obviously true. It's true for everybody, and that it takes a village phrase definitely um, goes for anybody that has any success in their life. And I'm got now small kids now myself, and I'm doing all the coaching and running around, and now I'm starting to get a little bit more appreciation for what my parents had to go through when we were growing up. So they didn't warn us about this part where you got something going on every single night of the week, and just
Yeah.
running around and doing crazy stuff. So no, that's a really really good example of just the character of you as well, that you were able to reflect on all those people that kind of made an impact in your life. And talking about that, you kind of, it's not an unusual path anymore, but it's a little bit of a harder path. Undrafted free agent out of college from University of Georgia, but you stepped in, and you were a starter from day one, and you're coming out of college fresh, wet behind the ears, and all of a sudden you're snapping the ball for Tom Brady. Tell me about that moment of, when did it really click in for you that this is really happening? I've made it, and now I'm, snapping the ball to the greatest player of all time.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. There's days where you still feel like you haven't made it, and because it's a constant cycle, and that's the NFL is always they're always trying to, the replacements are coming, and they're always trying to figure it out. And I think, um, but I think really it didn't hit me until I was like playing in my first game, and then I don't really know if it hit me, because I was riding this high, and it was just such a whirlwind. To be undrafted, and um, thinking like, hey, this will be a fun summer. I'll go to training camp, and then I'll figure out what I'm actually going to do for the rest of my life. And then now, you know, 10 years later, I'm be like, well, I guess I will go to training camp again this summer and figure it out from there. So, um, and it was a surreal moment. It was really special. It was cool, but like I said, it was still one of those things. It's just such a whirlwind, and I don't think I'll truly appreciate it until it's done one day, and look back on it all, and um, but uh, it was such a great experience. I came in with two other rookie O linemen, one that we played 6 years together, and no, 6 or 7, maybe 7 years together. 7 years together. We trained before Shaq Mason, um, and we played a long time with each other, and had a lot of success. And so I started with him from day one, and we just kind of never looked back. And it was a great run we had, and it was super fortunate. Tom was great to work with. He was very hard on me my rookie year. He liked things a certain way, so I had to learn how to get those things a certain way. And but it was such a great learning experience. It was challenging. It was tough. It was, and I wanted that. I wanted to be challenged. I wanted to be pushed. And so when he would give me something, I would try to do it, tenfold of my ability. So, yeah, it was a lot of work, but I think a lot of guys, you just got to get an opportunity in this league. Um, and I was fortunate enough to get mine in year one. And I think anytime in life you get an opportunity, you don't know when those opportunities are going to come, but you better be prepared for them. And that's what I tried to do.
And you mentioned that the Tom Brady and center quarterback, there's a special relationship there. You guys get a little closer than most people. Is there any funny, interesting story about you and Tom's relationship, or maybe even a little story about kind of what defines it that you can share with us, that kind of highlights what it was like being the center for one of the guys that's listed as all-time greats.
Well, he didn't like anything messing the ball up, whether it was rain, or you can imagine, a 300-pound guy in the summer wearing football equipment. There's a lot of sweat. So he had a lot of different systems to try to stop the bodily fluids that you would produce. Whether it would be, shoving towels down your pants, or they're coming around with going to get baby powder or Gold Bond from the training and unscrewing the lid and just dumping a full bottle in your pants. And thinking that was, part of it was funny to him to see us just run around and white powder be, look like smoke coming out of your pants. And, but it kept the balls dry, kept your pants dry. And there was a method to the madness, even though he was a little excessive about it. He talked about my first start was against Pittsburgh at home to open the 2015 season. And it was a very New England type day, misty, not really raining, just wet, and I'm about to lose my mind. I'm so nervous. And the opening kickoff for the NFL, and we're about to run on the field, and he comes on up to me and goes, "Hey, let's try to keep the ball as dry as possible tonight." And I was just like, really? Like that's what we're gonna say when it's it's raining, Tom? What do you want me to do? And I was like, that's the least of my worries, is this wet ball. Trying not to get your head taken off here. So, he had a particular way of how he liked things, but there was a method to the madness, and hell, you can't say it didn't work.
Right. Well, that's good to know that he kept you clean, kept you
Yeah.
dry, and was doing you a favor as well in those hot summer days. So that's funny.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, a little bit, just the last thing about you and your upbringing. Fun little fact, and you have NFL bloodlines, and your uncle is a legendary coach. Can you tell us a little bit about what Dan Reeves kind of tried to instill in you or talk to you about before you made it to the NFL, or even after you made it? Any kind of advice that he gave you as you were on your NFL journey?
Yeah, it was really cool. Just kind of fate, I guess. I grew up outside of Atlanta, and kind of when I was coming into my own, starting to play football, you know, he was coaching for the Atlanta Falcons,
With
and
Michael Vick and yep.
yeah, and so it was and my parents they went to the 98 Super Bowl when they played the Broncos, and my parents didn't take me. I was only 6 years old, I guess, at the time, and I couldn't believe they didn't take me. And then I went to my first Super Bowl, and I realized why they didn't take a 6-year-old with them. So it was super cool for me to have that experience growing up, and we would be, in the mornings during summer, we'd go to Furman. They used to practice in, I believe it was at Furman before they built their facility at Flower Branch. They would do training camps up there. And so me and my dad would drive up there in the mornings, watch their first, back when they had 2-a-days, we'd watch their first practice, and then I'd sleep in the car on the way home, and we'd drive home for my practices that afternoon. And we did that a bunch. And, I had such cool experiences. I can remember Ray Buchanan, taking me in the locker room after a practice one day, and they take me up and threw me in an ice tub. And, I was like 8 years old, and there was a lot of his great players that were really good to me. And it didn't do anything for my football career, but what it did do was, they weren't telling me, how to block a 3 technique, but what it did show was just, these people, these idols of mine, and these guys that I thought were superhuman would take whatever it was, 10, 15, 5 minutes, 30 seconds of their day to spend some time with me and play catch with me, or, mess with me. And, Keith Brooking played at Georgia Tech, and I was a big Georgia fan, and I'd always have Georgia gear on, and he'd come by and like throw my hat, or, push me. And, it was little things like that. And then one day, he signed a beanie and handed it to my dad and was like, "Give this to him later." And I got in the car and there that was, and that was like to me like wow, like he was
Right.
just, but he was messing with me, and and I thought, man, he's really mean, and then he did that to me, and it said like Goat Jackets or something, and and things like that. Just all these guys that just took a little time of their day to just spend with me, um, from his teams, and that had such a big impact, and watching them and how they treated other people too, and then my uncle, I get that a lot, right, and we weren't sitting there talking about the West Coast system versus this system and how you block this blitz, and you know I don't know we ever had really a conversation about that, but again, about how you treat people and watching him operate. And he told me, he said, if you ever become famous, you need to write your name legible. If someone asks you for your autograph, it's a huge honor. And he always wrote his name, where you could
Right.
actually read it. And, I wish I could say I followed that, but I didn't. But I just think that shows the kind of character and man he was. And I think, like I said, those things and how that stuff happened had a lot bigger effect than me watching them do two-a-days and stuff like that. But I just, the impact it had on a little kid versus now as a grown man, there's things that I still remember, right? And try to do the right way and try to do things the right way. And I think that was just such a cool thing to see at a young age and see it. And then now here I am, and I can remember I used to get gloves and think they were superhuman, and now that's,
Right.
I need to go try them on and see if they fit, and because as a 8-year-old boy, you're just like, oh my gosh, this thing's like an oven mitt on me, and so it was super cool. It was a great experience, and like I said, just how you carry yourself and treat people and things like that. Those experiences were a lot more important and had a bigger impact than anything football did.
Yeah, look, it's carried on, and it's carried on throughout your entire NFL career. We talked about all the community service and things that you do, as well as now being the Black Courage Award. I think like to think that maybe that did play a little bit of part in getting you honored in this way by your teammates as well. And speaking about Courage Award, we have these Courage Houses all across the country. We have a great one up in New England area in Key program, and we got a bunch of questions from the kids. So I want to finish up with giving you some of the hard hitting ones. These are the ones that the kids really want to know. Some of these guys have gotten stumped over the past couple months. So we'll see how you do. We'll see how you do. All right, we're going to start with the first one. Doesn't have to be the biggest. Doesn't have to be the shiniest. What has been your favorite thing that you've been able to purchase since making it to the NFL?
Oh, hmm. I would say me and my wife bought some property, a little farm back home in Georgia, and that's always been a dream of mine, and something that uh, I'm very passionate about the outdoors when I'm not playing football, and to be able to share those experiences with my son and us as a family, and to have something like that, I think is super cool. And that maybe wouldn't have happened without playing football. So that's something that won't go away. The other stuff, will eventually all go away. But hopefully that can be something our family has for a long time.
That's what we've heard. We've heard houses, we've heard farm, or we've heard cars. We've heard houses for mom. That's the first farm that we got on that answer. So that's a good one. That's a new one for us. Player you got most excited to play against at some point in your NFL career? Is there somebody that you look back, you look at the calendar and be like, oh man, I got this guy coming up this week. I'm really excited to go up against that guy. Is there somebody, I'm probably going to guess a defensive lineman of some sort that you were just got, a little bit more excited for than you normally would?
Well, unfortunately, we have to play really good D linemen every week. So I don't know how they keep coming out with them, but every year there's they just get better and better. And so, but one I've always found cool, Grady Jarrett for the Falcons.
Okay.
So we're both from Georgia, similar areas. And when we were coming out, he went to Clemson, I went to Georgia. We played each other twice. Uh, it, then and then in high school, we were at all the same recruiting camps, and it was
Yeah.
always a battle. And you know, he beat me, I beat him. And I'd like to think we made each other better. It was super competitive. Obviously, he's a great player. He's had a great career too. But then goes to Clemson, and obviously gets to play in Atlanta. And we played him a few times. Played him in the Super Bowl. Heck, if they had beat us in that Super Bowl, he should have been the MVP. I think he had 3 sacks. But we got him in the end.
Bragging rights. I love it.
It's pretty cool when you competed against someone for a long time like that, and how much success he's had. I have a lot of respect for him as a player. You know, like talking about my uncle being the coach. Julius Peppers played for the Packers, and that was my first preseason game. And so when we were growing up, obviously Atlanta and Carolina, big rivalry.
Right.
And Julius Peppers played for them, and so I'm just like running out on the field, like, man, this is unbelievable. Mike Vick, obviously, was there, and he was so great to me. My buddy actually sent me a picture the other day of us standing there with Mike when we were, in elementary school, and then he was on Pittsburgh. My first start, he was their backup, so that was pretty wild. And then obviously, guys, playing against Peyton when he was in Denver, Drew Brees,
Gotcha.
There's been just getting to, obviously I'm not playing defense, but you're like, oh my gosh,
You get to
Peyton
watch. You at
Manning.
least get to watch a little bit of it, right?
You're like, wow, that's Peyton Manning over there. So, that's definitely been, some of the highlights, I think.
All right. Favorite flavor of ice cream?
Ooh, it rotates, man. I'd say right now I'm kind of on like a rocky road kick.
Okay. A little bit of everything in there. Got it. That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one. Go to karaoke song.
Oh man.
I think this is the one that has stumped most of everybody so far. And then some people are real quick with it. And they got it right in the bag. They know exactly what they're going up there singing.
I don't know. It just depends on what kind of mood I'm in. I'd say Neon Moon, Brooks and Dunn.
All right, there you go. And then last one from the kids, and this one is this one's kind of turned into a landslide when we get the answers, and then most of the answers are the same right now after what's happened in the NFL over the past couple of years. But right now, who's the best player in the NFL?
Heck, you can make an argument for everyone, but right now you have to say Patrick Mahomes. I think, it's a quarterback-driven league, and obviously there's no other position in the sport where the ball's in your hands every play.
Right.
And so, obviously there's Chris Jones for them is a great player. You go Travis Kelce's a great player, but there's just no other position in the sport where you have the ball every play. So it is quarterback driven league, and you have to have a great quarterback to win. So I think obviously they've got the best one right now.
Yeah, it's 2023 Kansas City Chiefs recipient Patrick Mahomes as well. So a part of same Ed Block class as Patrick. So it's a pretty cool story how everything comes kind of full circle, especially with Tom and now Patrick and you being there for all of it. So I'm going to finish up and I'm going to ask you one question. You got a couple Super Bowl rings. You didn't get a national championship in Georgia. Georgia's gotten over the hump recently, obviously.
Yeah.
Would you trade one of those Super Bowl rings for a national championship back in Georgia days?
Man, that's hard. Maybe if I had 3 Super Bowls, I would trade.
Right.
If we beat the Eagles in 17, I'd probably trade one of those. I guess I trade one of those. I guess I trade the 17 one because then I wouldn't,
Right.
I do it.
Be
So
in the same spot you're at now. So
yeah, so I guess it would all come out in the wash. I think um, it definitely, we played Alabama in 2012 in the SEC championship and
yep.
lost on a
Very
last
memorable
second.
game. Yep.
Yeah, lost on a last second play, and we were a really good football team. Obviously, Alabama was. They went on to play Notre Dame and beat the tar out of them in the national championship. So it still eats at me. That does, but I think national championships one thing, but when you get to the Super Bowl and you realize the gauntlet that you have to go through and how difficult it is and you have a lot of respect for it. And then obviously um, we played the 2016 year, the Super Bowl comeback, unreal, and then really, and then 2018, just a great story. We kind of struggled throughout the year and then find our home was really running the football. So as an offensive lineman, that took a lot of pride in that. And then I think we went that whole playoffs without giving up a sack, which we played some great D lines. Kansas City obviously had a great D line. Obviously the Rams with Aaron Donald, Sue, and all those guys. So we played some really good teams and ran the football really well. We went, going into Kansas City in the road in 2018 was such an unreal environment, and just to win the way we did running it, I think you take a lot of pride in that. So both very memorable. I don't think I could trade them though.
All right, there you go. All right, sticking with the Super Bowl rings. I like it. I like it. All right, here he is, David Andrews, code to 2023 New England Patriots recipient. Thank you so much for taking some time to join us today. We're looking forward to catching up with you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, man. Look forward to it.